Hi, I'm Kristen Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Are You a Charlotte? Today, we have a really fun guest. It's Caroline Aaron, who was in the first season. She is an incredible actress who has done Broadway, film. She's worked with amazing directors and so many incredible parts on television. She's incredible. We have a great conversation. We talk about Michael Patrick King, who she's known forever and loves. So please join us for a fun talk with Caroline Aaron. Welcome, Caroline Aaron. I'm so excited to have you.
So excited to see you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I mean, first of all, when they printed out look at the number of papers I have about your resume. My good Lord, I don't even know where to start, but we're going to start with Sex and the City because that's why we're here. But I mean, there's so many things I could talk to you about. Your career is so amazing, which I knew, but now I really, really know. And props. Okay.
Thank you, sweetheart.
It's so nice. So tell me, I love to ask people what they remember. This would have been what, 1998?
Was that the first season?
Yep, you were on the first season.
Wait, wow.
I know.
Wow, and I'm only 30, so that was 20. So I must have been 3. So I must have been 3 years old.
Yeah, we were all little babies, all of us.
Such little babies.
Yes.
This is what I remember of many things that I remember. I remember meeting Sarah. I had never met her before.
Okay.
I think I said to her, do you have all the same number of organs that I have? Because she was so tiny that I thought she can't also have a gallbladder and a pancreas. And little rib cage.
No, she's tiny, yeah.
She was itty bitty. So that was like really different. And I knew I'd met Michael Patrick King doing a play that he wrote.
Oh, which one?
It was, I don't even know what the name of this play was, but it was from a long time ago before he was Michael Patrick King. And I was sitting on a white bench popping up and down in Culver City. He'll remember. And then I knew Darren and I knew Andrea King, who was a writer during that first season, but I didn't know any of you ladies.
Right.
It was sort of right at the beginning. And I remember thinking when I first got there, I was in New York City during my salad days and I went, wow, I wish I'd had the life these girls had when I was in New York.
Listen, I felt the same way because I was also in New York City when I was an actress waitress. So I was like, this is the life. And I'm just going to try to pretend like this is my life because it felt very surreal, you know? So you knew Michael Patrick years before.
Yes, years before. I knew him. And I think I knew Darren. I mean, they just asked me. So it was hot off the press. So nobody knew it was Sex and the City.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, you just go, okay, I just want to be there for my friends. They're working on something new. It's got an incredible cast with the 4 of you. And I don't think Evan Handler was on it then.
No, not yet. Harry had not shown up yet.
Harry hadn't shown up. I did a Broadway show with him. So now that you guys have been on for so long and done so much, I probably know almost everybody who's ever been on it.
I love that. Well, I think you have worked with everyone in the industry for sure. What play did you do with Evan?
A play called I Hate Hamlet.
Oh, yeah. I heard of that. Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm going to talk to him about that. Now, this is what I love so much about you. Like, as much as you are a brilliant character actress where you can do Broadway, film, Woody Allen, Mike Nichols, television, vintage, period pieces, blah, 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 everything. You are also very specifically you. Like, your voice alone is like so evocative. Like, I just hear your voice and it's very powerful. So when Maisel came on, I was like, oh, this is like the best thing that's ever happened. We just get so much Caroline, which I really love.
Right. I have to say that was the gift that keeps on giving. And
so special.
Very special and very exciting. And, because I had worked with so many great film directors who were auteurs, starting with, I think the very first Broadway play I ever did was directed by Robert Altman, one of our filmmakers, with Cher.
What? Love it.
And Chastity was always there. That's Chaz now.
I understand.
Cher and Sandy Dennis and Karen Black, and Robert Altman directed it. So that was really exciting because it was his first time sort of doing theater himself. And because I've worked with so many iconic filmmakers, and, I always say, like, auteur filmmakers are different because it there's no, there's nothing being done by committee. It's all one vision. You you die on that hill or you succeed on that hill. And then when I got in Maisel, I went, oh, there's auteurs in television too. And you are a part of a show that has a television auteur, and so was I.
Definitely.
From doing a lot of TV, I remember one time years ago, I auditioned for something and my agents called me and said, you're their first choice. And I was so excited. And they went, unfortunately, this time they're going with their second choice.
Oh my God.
And I went, what? And they said, because you think about it, when something's being done by committee, not everybody's going to have the same first choice. So you and I have to agree, we're going to throw out our first choice. Then we're going to go to our second choice, our third choice, whatever it is. So when you work on a show like Sex and the City or Maisel or whatever, it's one person's vision, and that's pretty exciting.
I agree totally. And I don't know if people really realize that in a way. I mean, I think true fans realize that, but I don't know if everyone does. And I sometimes wonder if everyone realizes that, I mean, for us also, it's been amazing to also have this length of time working together. It's very unusual, obviously.
Right.
And we have a lot of input, which is great, but it is still Michael Patrick's vision,
Yes. You're dealing with one person who has this, and I love him. And I tested for a bunch of shows. He did a bunch of shows before he did your show. But the reason I think once he became even like mildly successful, he either rented or bought this theater in Culver City because he wanted to keep doing work. He wanted to keep turning over the soil of his own artistic imagination. And then you guys snatched him up and kept him.
We kept him, but then he did Two Broke Girls, which you were also on.
Oh, that's right. That was Michael's. Oh, that's right. That was so
right.
Right. So fun.
I mean, you do everything. Like you do multicam. It's very impressive. What is your favorite?
Well, I just closed in an off-Broadway play here, and it was just a two-hander, and it was just me and this kid, and for 2 hours, and I loved it so much. And I went, wow, I'm really working for a living now. I had no idea. When you're doing 8 times a week and it's just you, but I loved it. And I would have to say, it's not what I would say the delivery system, whether it's television, single camera, 4 camera, or film, indie or studio or theater, Broadway or off Broadway. It's the part.
Yeah.
It's always about what is the part. What are you communicating to people, and who is this person? And that's always going to be my favorite, is whoever it is that I'm playing. If I'm very turned on by that, and I like to do a deep dive. I'm sort of a nuisance when you work with me because I ask so many questions.
I love it.
I
love it.
Questions. I'm not difficult, but I'm curious.
Well, I think that you cannot be a good actor and not be curious. I mean, that's, I think, possibly number one.
I would agree.
Yeah. My question for you about choosing roles, if that's the thing that's really driving you, because sometimes for me it's about the role, but sometimes it's also about who you're working with, which sometimes I make a mistake that way. Do you know what I'm saying? But I love the collaboration. You want to be with people that excite you creatively. But also I feel sometimes when I look at different things that I've done in the past, and maybe there's a practical reason or whatever, but usually it's like some weird unconscious reason that I choose a role. Do you ever feel that? Like something in yourself that you need to express or that hasn't gotten attention or light?
Yes. And I think I'm always going to be drawn to not repeating myself. And I'm sure, you know what I mean? It's like if you were offered like in the next 10 years, Charlotte.
Oh God, no, yeah.
Then you would go, you know what? I've already played in this sandbox. I want to play in another sandbox.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I've definitely taken parts just based on that. It's not always a great thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Really?
Yeah.
True.
No, I definitely have done that also because I have now played Charlotte for almost 30 years, which is really plenty. I love her. I would like to keep going, but I don't need to do any other versions of her.
That's right. And you've been to the mountain. You know what I mean? You've got to mountaintop with this character. You don't need to do that again.
No.
You know
no,
what I mean?
No.
Yo, K-pop fans, it's your boy Bomhan, and I'm bringing you something epic. Introducing the K Factor, the podcast that takes you straight into the heart of K-pop. We're talking music reviews, exclusive interviews, and deep dives into the industry like never before. From producers and choreographers to idols and trainees, we're bringing you the real stories behind the music that you love. And yeah, we're keeping it 100, discussing everything from comebacks and concepts to the mental health side of the business. Because K-pop isn't just a genre, it's a whole world, and we're exploring every corner of it. And here's the best part. Fans get to call in, drop opinions, and even join us live at events. You never know where we might pop up next. So listen to The K Factor on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. Are you ready? Let's go.
I found out I was related to the guy that I was dating.
I don't feel emotions correctly.
I am talking to a felon right now, and I cannot decide if I like him or not.
Those were some callers from my call-in podcast, Therapy Gecko. It's a show where I take real phone calls from anonymous strangers all over the world as a fake gecko therapist and try to dig into their brains and learn a little bit about their lives. I know that's a weird concept, but I promise it's pretty interesting if you give it a shot. Matter of fact, here's a few more examples of the kinds of calls we get on this show.
I live with my boyfriend, and I found his piss jar in our apartment.
I collect my roommate's toenails and fingernails. I have very overbearing parents. Even at the age of 29, they won't let me move out of their house.
So if you want an excuse to get out of your own head and see what's going on in someone else's head, search for Therapy Gecko on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's the one with the green guy on it.
My husband has a secret son from a past partner.
Hold up, Sam. How do we know? Have we done the DNA test?
Well, John, luckily it's Mother May I Have a DNA Test Week on the OK Storytime podcast, so we'll find out soon. And this wife writes, my husband received a Facebook message from a woman saying that he is the father of a 5-year-old.
Whoa!
At first, he didn't remember her, but then he realized they had a one-night stand right before we started dating.
Wait, but do we have proof he's the dad?
Well, the author says there's no confirmation the kid is even his son, but the woman from Facebook has a meeting with her lawyer soon. I think she's going after our money. If the kid is actually my husband's, she would be entitled to it too.
So what's the husband got to say about this? This could be his kid.
Well, apparently he broke down in the middle of the living room apologizing, but this is what scared me. His first instinct, if the kid is his son, is to pay the child support but not be an active father in the kid's life because he only wants a family with me, his wife.
Oh, this is a mess.
To hear the explosive finale, follow OK Storytime on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This week on Dear Chelsea with me, Chelsea Handler, Connie Britton is here.
I think you should encourage your friend to go ahead and not be holding out for any man to have her babies. If she is passionate about becoming a mother and she has her eggs frozen and she has her life together, go for it. She could be waiting another 10 years before she finds the right guy. Connie didn't meet her right guy until you were what, 50, Connie? How long have you guys been together?
Yeah, no, 52. 52. I adopted my son as a single mom because I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to meet the guy. I finally was like, what am I waiting for? And I did it. And I'm just so glad that I did. I want to change the narrative about single parents and also help to create a community for single parents so that they can not feel alone in it. One of the big things is it's so hard, especially for women, to ask for help.
Listen to Dear Chelsea on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, my name's Jay Shetty, and I'm the host of On Purpose. And I'm excited for my next episode with Khloe Kardashian.
God, I've been through so many things that at this point, I would rather not feel than feel because feeling is too much for me to handle.
All right, we're ready.
I am Khloe Kardashian.
Khloe Kardashian, everybody.
Khloe Kardashian.
No one understands how I'm not just a TV show.
There would be times that I was like, I don't even want to go out to the grocery store because I feel like I know what they're thinking about me. And that was scary to me because I've never been in a dark place for that long.
You've always taken care of others. Have you discovered anything about why you've seen yourself take on that role in so many relationships in your life? How do you even find the courage to trust again? Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So in your mind, like with Maisel, I mean, part of the reason I talk about Maisel is that we have a lot of the crew members from Maisel, which love to remind us. We do. We have a lot of the camera crew. And they're always like, that time on Maisel when we shot a 3-block with the crane. And we're like, we know. It was amazing. You know what I mean? They're still, basking in the glory, basically. Okay, so I feel like we talk about it. I mean, also it was such a beautiful New York show, in a different way, in a different era. But so for me, like, I love that era so much.
I know. It made me miss my mother every day. I wrote an article that was published in a magazine. I think the name of the article was called The Mother Load. And originally they were going to interview me about Maisel. And then I was like, and I'm sure you feel this too. I really am so sick of talking about myself when you're doing a lot of press all at once and you just feel like, oh, no, don't talk to me about me. So then they offered for me to write it. I went, great. So I wrote about my mom, playing a mom. It was great. And where there was an overlap between her mothering and Shirley, the character, it was putting on the clothes. It was like, and I kept thinking, why did I give away all of my mother's clothes?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And, I don't remember it well enough, but one of the sort of like iconic things about Shirley was this white mink that she had all the time with her, no matter if it was 80 degrees out. And it was a real mink, and Amy wanted it to be white as opposed to brown. And it had to be in the 50s, and they searched it out. And then a couple of months after the show wrapped, they sent it to me as a gift. So I have this.
That's so sweet.
Isn't that so sweet? And I go, what will I ever do with it? But maybe it will come back in. But it was those kinds of things, gloves, hats, all those things that my mother always, it was just her everyday life. Those things. And I think that made me miss her.
Yeah. Well, those details, I mean, that's such an interesting thing to think about when you are playing a part. And sometimes when you're doing something on stage also, because I feel like when you're doing something on stage, they really build a costume from the ground up, in a wonderful way, which changes how you feel and how you're moving and all of those things, which is also true of modern clothes as well. We just kind of take it for granted. But I feel like the details that went into those costumes on Maisel,
our costume designer genius.
Yeah.
Maisel, I would come in some days and I'd go, do I have to put on the girdle? And the pointy bra, and because there'd be a scene where I'd just be in my robe and she'd go, yes, you have to put it on. It makes you walk differently. It makes you talk differently. You know what I mean? It's like, I cannot believe that women in that age and during that time didn't have a lot of bladder infections. I can tell you that because none of them wanted to go to the bathroom. There was a lot to take off.
Oh my God. I feel you. I mean, I can only imagine. Yeah. Like even just for Sex and the City, there's a lot to take off. And sometimes we're in locations and they don't have nice bathrooms. And we're like, you guys, you gotta sweep the floors because these clothes are going to be a wreck because we got to take care of all of the layers anyway, and the belts and the But yes, I mean Maisel 100%. But I'm sorry, I obviously I'm a big fan, so I'm just going to talk about Maisel. But I'll get off Maisel.
I think for my whole life, I loved it so much.
I'm so glad. Isn't that just such a gift? It's such a gift to have something.
What you guys have to is that we are all in touch with each other all the time. We will never let each other. And I kept thinking to myself, I even said to Amy and Dan once, and you should ask Michael this too, because I don't know the answer. Did they cast chemistry for us and all those people? I mean, it was unbelievable. And they didn't. They just sort of
amazing.
They just lucked out, and we still are all very much each other's family, creative family.
Absolutely. I mean, for us, we didn't read together or anything like that. I had never met Sarah Jessica. I had never met Cynthia. I had met Kim briefly, but it is just such a very, very unusual situation where, and I mean, this is our job, right? Like our job is to go onto a set and to make that work, to connect, but it doesn't always work the way you want it to, right? Like you can try and try and try, and sometimes you still don't have that like kind of frisson,
chemistry, out. And yes, you're right. I remember when I first came to New York, I was studying with the great Uta Hagen. And one of the big questions was, so I'm in a scene and it's a love scene and I hate the guy I'm with. I just hate him. I hate what he's doing, on and on and on. Uta, what do you do?
Yeah.
And she said, you use the magic if. It's as if he's the love of your life. It's as if you can't wait to get your hands on him. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that doesn't.
Right.
And if you can't make it work, you have to quit. Because you can't let you can't legislate another actor's performance. I'm sure you've been actors who've tried to legislate what you're doing. I would never do that to another actor. It's certainly been done to me.
Me too.
Right? Haven't you been?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Usually by men. Usually by male actors.
Male actors saying things to me. I will be nameless, but I was doing a movie and the actor came up to me and said, if you make it very real, it'll be funnier. And I went, really? Thank you so much for that tip. I'm going to use that. God. I was like,
oh my God. I've had 2 actors say this to me kind of early, like maybe the first week, where, you've got some scene, and these were roles where I'm like the mom, right? So you're usually in a kitchen, those kitchen scenes where you have all these props, but you have like little kind of inconsequential dialogue, and the actor has he's driving the scene, and so you're just trying to be real, as you said, and do your best that you can do, and you're actually rehearsing. So I was rehearsing the prop work, and the actor is standing maybe 3 feet from me and turns to the director and says, "She's not going to do it like that, is she?"
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, oh my God. And I was like, I was rehearsing. Hello, I can hear you. And I was rehearsing. And we ended up getting along great. But in the beginning, it does scare you. Like, oh God, Jesus, is the whole job going to be like this? Yeah, but that's good to know.
I would never say anything to another actor. So we were really, really lucky on Maisel that the chemistry we got for free. We didn't have it. It was just there. We cared about each other, and we see each other now all the time. And the opening of the play I just did off Broadway, my pretend son, Michael Zegan, was there with my real son, with the son of the play. So I was there with my 3 sons all standing there. It was really great.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Rachel is so nice. I see her at events. She's so lovely, and I'm so looking forward to Superman. I feel like she is the star of Superman.
It is. And let me just say, it starts with number 1 on the call sheet. And I kept thinking, why is this working so well? But I'll tell you, and it was Rachel's, it was all of our attitudes. The project was more important than any single one of us. So everybody was bringing their A game to the material. And so that was the star of the show. The show.
Right. Well, that's what we wanted. That's what we tried our best to do. I
think you did.
Thank you.
Because where you are, you're still going, Missy.
That's right. And which we're just so incredibly lucky. Like, do you ever think about your whole career and like when you were starting, what was your biggest dream, or what was your fantasy version of your career?
My fantasy version hasn't happened yet. I can't wait for it.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Do you want to put it out there? What is it?
I lived in LA, for 24 years. And I said, until I came back to New York for Maisel, but I used to say, what I want for my career is to know where my parking place is. So I just want, you know what I mean? It was like, I just pray for that. I just pray. I think I would like to be on a successful, important, interesting TV series for a number of years. I've never done, I did that with Maisel.
Right.
Which was really great. And I would like to have that back because, it's like being a school teacher. You have 3 months off in the summer. You can do other things that you really, really want to do. And although what's going on in our business now is very complicated.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's chaos.
It's just unbelievable. And who knows where this is all going to land. But I just keep thinking, artists are the witnesses, and it will be our footprints in the snow that 100 years from now, people will follow and say they'll be watching your show to try and put together what was it like to be alive then.
This is why I'm doing the podcast, because I thought to myself, we've been incredibly lucky and blessed to be a part of this thing. And many other people have shared their thoughts about the show and the people on the show and what they think went on or didn't go on. But I thought, why shouldn't we share our own thoughts and memories so that it's like a time capsule, because things are changing so rapidly, you know?
Funny, because I was only in that one episode for a minute in the first season, and like even very early on in the first season. And then the show grew up to be, it will go down in history, right? Obviously. And I went to see it Bucks County. I saw the original material from Candace Bushnell.
Oh, you saw her show?
Yes, I saw her show.
How great.
Which was so interesting. Did you ever see it?
No, I just heard her on the podcast. She talked a lot about it. I mean, she's a fascinating person.
So fascinating. And you know what the set was? Did you tell me what the set was?
No.
Imagine a set like a stage, and it was all of these different platforms made out of lucite, and on every platform was just a pair of shoes. Just 100 pair of shoes. It was,
wow. That's a great idea.
It's a great idea. And so
yeah.
A pair of shoes. I mean, I thought about it like we could probably all do that with our own closets. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Take out this pair of shoes or that pair of shoes, or, you know, it's like I did Nora Ephron's play Love Lost and What I
Yeah.
Same idea, which is, I don't know if it's true for men, but it's certainly true for women. Clothes are like electricity. They're conductors of feelings and events and memories.
Yeah.
That we have in our lives. Like when I went back and looked at the episode, I went, I know that jacket. I know that. And you know what I mean? It was like, I remembered all of that and why I had that on, and so great.
So great. And the thing that I love about you, and I mean, this is true in all the roles that you do, but I don't always remember, part of what's interesting looking back on the show is like, I would never have thought that you were in first season. I remember you so vividly being on because you're such a presence, but I would have thought it was later. But first season, we hadn't even been on the air, right? So
right.
You,
I mean,
you
so
definitely
knew that it was Sex and the City.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It was like, and I kept wondering if people are going to like this. You know, it's, you know, when people would interview me about Maisel and they'd go, why do you think it's a hit? And I would go, And it was when they first sent it to me, I was like, okay, this is great. Jews will like it. New Yorkers will like it. I guess that's a lot of people. And then it turned out that it blew up internationally and we did press all over the world. And I would ask people all the time, like we were in Milan doing press and there were all these journalists that came in from like Sweden and Brazil and this place. And I'm like, why do they like this? Where do they line up?
Yeah.
And find a place to relate to. And it was one of the most interesting things that I heard was there was a young woman, a young journalist, I think she was from Sweden. And she said, we see a lot of young women on television, but we don't see confident women our age.
Wow.
She's, you know, most of the women they were seeing on television, you know, they had boyfriend problems or parent problems or job problems or whatever. They didn't see confident women. And it was so meaningful to her to see a woman who was ambitious and confident in her 30s. And I thought, isn't that interesting? I thought that was interesting. And also it's about family. And everybody has one, even if your specifics are not their specifics, I think. And it's about dreamers. Having a big dream. And I think people like really, really responded to that. And so it was a big mystery. And I felt the same way when my friends all started on Sex and the City, because I knew Darren, I knew Michael, and I knew one of your writers at that time, this woman, Andrea King, who's a wonderful writer. And I think we had become friendly. She was like the editor of the Hollywood Reporter, or she'd been in journalism in some way.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Darren was like one of her best friends. He asked her, you know, to come to the party. And I remember wondering, are people going to like this?
I mean, we wondered as well. We were scared.
I wanted to know from you. You did. You get the script. You're shooting a pilot. You go, I don't know.
I mean, we knew that we loved it. You know, I think that I know for myself, I had a sense of how special and different it was. You know, certainly I had been my out of work actor self in New York, and then I had gone to LA because there was more work, right? And then in LA, everything was much more, you know, sound stagey. The guys are the leads, the girls are the girlfriends, you know, all of that kind of thing. So for me, it was something where I thought that this is like shocking, basically, that four of us are here, you know, with our own storylines, walking around Manhattan at nighttime, like, yay. But I didn't know if it would resonate out in the world. And we all really thought that it might Sarah Jessica says that she didn't even really think about the success part, which is super interesting. But I do think she's very, you know, kind of what you're saying about the part. She's kind of project focused, you know, she's not big picture focused. I felt like I want this to keep going, and I hope we can get at least a niche type following, you know, and wouldn't that be great? Right. And obviously it unfolded in a very different and fantastic way, but none of us saw that coming. You could never see that coming.
You know, it was really interesting when I went back and watched this episode. So we are saying it was, what year did you say the first season?
98.
Okay. So it's 98, and there was all of this talk about oral sex for women. And I'm rewatching it now and going, that was radical.
Yeah.
That's radical. It doesn't feel radical right now to revisit it, to have that conversation with your character about when you said, I don't like it. And even a woman saying, I don't like it, I don't want to do it, it's not for me. And I'm like going, wow, this is pretty brave.
Oh, I know. We were scared.
Yeah, this was really brave. I don't think people can even realize how brave it was.
Absolutely.
Through.
Yeah, things have changed in some ways so much, and then other things have not changed, which is really interesting to look at.
Yo, K-pop fans, it's your boy Bomhan, and I'm bringing you something epic. Introducing the K Factor, the podcast that takes you straight into the heart of K-pop. We're talking music reviews, exclusive interviews, and deep dives into the industry like never before. From producers and choreographers to idols and trainees, we're bringing you the real stories behind the music that you love. And yeah, we're keeping it 100, discussing everything from comebacks and concepts to the mental health side of the business. Because K-pop isn't just a genre, it's a whole world, and we're exploring every corner of it. And here's the best part. Fans get to call in, drop opinions, and even join us live at events. You never know where we might pop up next. So listen to the K Factor on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. Are you ready? Let's go.
I found out I was related to the guy that I was dating.
I don't feel emotions correctly.
I am talking to a felon right now, and I cannot decide if I like him or not.
Those were some callers from my call-in podcast, Therapy Gecko. It's a show where I take real phone calls from anonymous strangers all over the world as a fake gecko therapist and try to dig into their brains and learn a little bit about their lives. I know that's a weird concept, but I promise it's pretty interesting if you give it a shot. Matter of fact, here's a few more examples of the kinds of calls we get on this show.
I live with my boyfriend, and I found his piss jar in our apartment.
I collect my roommate's toenails and fingernails. I have very overbearing parents. Even at the age of 29, they won't let me move out of their house.
So if you want an excuse to get out of your own head and see what's going on in someone else's head, search for Therapy Gecko on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's the one with the green guy on it.
My husband has a secret son from a past partner.
Hold up, Sam. How do we know? Have we done the DNA test?
Well, John, luckily it's Mother May I Have a DNA Test Week on the OK Storytime podcast, so we'll find out soon. And this wife writes, my husband received a Facebook message from a woman saying that he is the father of a 5-year-old.
Whoa!
At first, he didn't remember her, but then he realized they had a one-night stand right before we started dating.
Wait, but do we have proof he's the dad?
Well, the author says there's no confirmation the kid is even his son, but the woman from Facebook has a meeting with her lawyer soon. I think she's going after our money. If the kid is actually my husband's, she would be entitled to it too.
So what's the husband got to say about this? This could be his kid.
Well, apparently he broke down in the middle of the living room apologizing, but this is what scared me. His first instinct, if the kid is his son, is to pay the child support but not be an active father in the kid's life because he only wants a family with me, his wife.
Oh, this is a mess.
To hear the explosive finale, follow OK Storytime in the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, my name's Jay Shetty, and I'm the host of On Purpose. And I'm excited for my next episode with Khloe Kardashian.
God, I've been through so many things that at this point, I would rather not feel than feel because feeling is too much for me to handle.
All right, we're ready.
I am Khloe Kardashian.
Khloe Kardashian, everybody.
Khloe Kardashian. No one understands how I'm not just a TV show.
There would be times that I was like, I don't even want to go out to the grocery store because I feel like I know what they're thinking about me. And that was scary to me because I've never been in a dark place for that long.
You've always taken care of others. Have you discovered anything about why you've seen yourself take on that role in so many relationships in your life? How do you even find the courage to trust again? Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This week on Dear Chelsea with me, Chelsea Handler, Connie Britton is here. I think you should encourage your friend to go ahead and not be holding out for any man to have her babies. If she is passionate about becoming a mother and she has her eggs frozen and she has her life together, go for it. She could be waiting another 10 years before she finds the right guy. Connie didn't meet her right guy until you were what, 50, Connie? How long have you guys been together?
Yeah, no, 52.
52.
I adopted my son as a single mom because I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to meet the guy, I'm going to meet the guy, I'm going to meet the guy. I finally was like, what am I waiting for? And I did it. And I'm just so glad that I did. I want to change the narrative about single parents and also help to create a community for single parents so that they can not feel alone in it. One of the big things is it's so hard, especially for women, to ask for help.
Listen to Dear Chelsea on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I remember being nervous about so many elements of it and thinking like, are people just going to be outraged? Like, oh my God, turn this off, you know?
Exactly. Nobody should see this. It was like, was. Yeah. It would have been, you would have thought it was late night cable.
Right, because it did have that element. It did have that element. And I remember the press that came out in the beginning, and a lot of it that was kind of male-driven reviewers, kind of snobby, reviewers, was very negative, very negative. And part of us was, I remember, I'm not a big review person anyway, but it trickled down to me, generally speaking, and we were just like, we're not going to that's not who we're making the show for. We're just going to block it out. We're not making the show for these white guys who write for papers,
Right.
Yeah. And that is a good skill to have anyway, because you can't really do your job if you're worrying about them.
My daughter told me when she first discovered it, she's 28, I can't remember. So let's say, she's the second round of audience members for Sex and the City.
Second or third, yeah.
Second or third. So she started, let's say 5 years ago or whatever it was. So I kept saying to her, I said, why do you like it? What's in it for you?
Mm-hmm.
Said, because it's women talking about sex. We don't ever get to see that. And that was, that was a couple of years ago.
That's incredible.
So that has not happened, it still occupies the lone territory.
Which is crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy that some things have stayed the same. And for young women who want to have that conversation or see that conversation, it was very, she felt very much like it was a source for her.
Yay. I like that. I mean, younger women say that to me, and I'm pretty sure I'm happy. Like sometimes I feel a little nervous, like, oh my God, I don't know, because we're playing very flawed characters, obviously, or it wouldn't be interesting. But then on the other hand, I think that the main message is, we're representing so many different viewpoints, and we're all together in it.
That's right.
The friends, and I think that's a powerful message.
And for each other, and you're also imperfect. And you remember in their internet, Instagram generation, perfection is always being put in front of them and making them feel really insecure. And then they watch this show and it's not about perfection. It's about individuality for women. And I think that's a comfort.
Absolutely. Thank God. I'm just so happy to be a part of it. Yeah. It's amazing. I have a pressing question for you.
Okay, good. I'm excited. I love pressing.
Are you a Charlotte?
I don't think so. I might be. I mean, let's see. Am I a Charlotte? I don't think so.
No. What are you?
I don't know. Let's think. The reason I was saying that I wasn't a Charlotte is I feel like Charlotte stays in the lines of the coloring book, or she used to. And that's where her comfort is. And I think I always felt very other.
Oh,
and I don't think Charlotte is the character on that show that's other.
You're so right. Yeah, you're so right.
And I don't think, probably, if I had to be one of the four, it'd be Cynthia.
Yeah, Miranda, yeah.
Yeah, Miranda.
You seem like a Miranda to me. She's very intellectual, but she's also says it like she sees it, Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
And she's kind of, she's willing to go into uncharted territory, certainly now in her character. But even before, you know what I mean? She's And to go out there and say, okay, I don't know if this is going to work out for me or not. Charlotte seems a little risk adverse.
Well, I have to say the funny thing, I totally agree. And I know why you're saying that, because she was so focused on her goal of marriage and whatnot. Right. But when you actually look back, when we finished the series, the first series, they did a book called Kiss and Tell. And in the back of the book, they put all the guys that each character had been with. And guess who had been with the most guys?
No.
Yep.
Charlotte is the slut. I'm so Charlotte's our little slutty girl.
I know. I also was a little shocked. I was like, wow. But I mean, in some ways, she's got this kind of more traditional picture she's trying to create, right? But she was pretty adventurous in terms of how she was going to get there, which is interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
I know. Yeah. It's also surprising when I rewatch back to the early days. I'm like, wow, I am all over the place, man. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to watch. And I don't always remember those parts, because I think her through line was always this much more traditional thing, which was kind of my role, right, in the mix. And that was, it's not really my life. So I had to work hard on making that, grounded. Yeah. But it is interesting to think about. I mean, yeah, she's done some slightly crazy things, but that's okay. It's fun. Why not? She's friends with Samantha. So,
From the show, going off the air, Sex in the City, how many years was it until just like that? When did that?
Well, the movies were in between, right? So like for me, it all blends. Like I have to remind myself of the actual shifts and breaks that happen, because obviously like we're there together still, right? So it still feels like the show, except that we're getting ready to air season 3 of it, Just Like That. And I watched the first one. I'm like, oh no, these shows are very different. They're very different. It's so fascinating, same characters, but the vibe, like the way that we shoot it and the pattern and the timing and kind of the subject matter, all of it, very different. It's super interesting.
That's so great. That's so great.
It is. It's a very rare situation. But in between, to answer your question, we did the first film, I think, was released in 2008. I think we went off the air in like 2004, I feel like.
Wow.
And then the second movie would have been roughly 2010, 2011, something like that. Then we took a kind of a long break, but we saw everyone, like you were saying, with your cast.
Great.
So you had a through line, personally.
Right. And what you guys have, what your own personal lives have evolved. You became mothers, you became wives, all those things happened to you guys along the way, which is also very exciting, because you do bring that whenever, the great director Peter Brooks said, that which is truly personal is universal. And we're always bringing our personal selves to whatever we are doing as actors. And I think that's really exciting.
I agree.
Gotten to do that through time.
I agree.
You're a different woman than when you started this show.
I mean, yes. Like we were little children when we started this show, really. We've lived lives, multiple. It's really fascinating.
Are you in LA?
I am. I'm in LA right now, getting ready to go back to New York. We're back and forth still, which is great. I love to be back and forth.
Yeah, of course.
And we're getting ready to do the press for And Just Like That, which is fun, but also stressful in this new streaming world.
I know.
Because it's just like a blast. Like you just blast it out there. You know what I mean?
Well, I took a picture of all of the underwear I had on the years we were going to, when you were going for the Emmys and the Golden Globes. Champagne problems, I understand. But
yeah.
The shoes and the clothes and the underwear, and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing a show about feminism and look what I have to put on.
No joke. I know. It's really an interesting thing. And sometimes you can go like, I'm not going to do this. I mean, certainly in my regular life, I just wear my jeans and my Adidas and I'm not going to be bothered. But that is the joy of what we do in a way too, right? Because if you don't do it for a while, don't you kind of crave the costumes?
I miss it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I
me
miss
too.
it. And I've learned a lot. And, because Sex and the City has also been about fashion. And I didn't know anything about fashion until I did Maisel. And I was like, wow, it's quite a subject. And it's really interesting. Again,
I agree.
I do think that fashion is the breadcrumbs of the times we live in.
Yeah.
And back and know a lot about us from fashion.
Absolutely. That's a really valid point. And I think our issue, sometimes with Sex and the City is that it almost seemed like fashion overtook the actual stories, you know, the actual storylines. And we felt some stress. Like it seemed like we were just trying to sell shoes, which was really never our intention. It just grew, you know? And then I think we felt this pull away from that when we came back for And Just Like That, partly based on the stories also, like we, you know, there was mourning and death and whatnot. We didn't want to be like running around in head to toe Gucci, you know, necessarily. So it's interesting because you want to have the through line be there, but at the same time, we're going through different things. So that's going to be reflected in what we're wearing. It's always super interesting. It's always super interesting to think about it.
What was really funny about Maisel, which I never said in any interviews, was, and this never has happened, is that 4 of the 7 regulars were over 50.
Amazing.
And every time I'm on a TV show, it's like, who am I going to have lunch with? I'm the only one who's over 50.
I understand. Yeah, we're in the same boat over there. And then Just Like That.
Exactly. You're the only one. And then I go, wow, take a note. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
to take a note. And it wasn't about being over 50.
No.
That it's okay. You could put characters on the air, all different ages. And you don't, you know, there is this feeling that, you know, the 30 and under is where the pot of gold is, but maybe not necessarily. Maybe.
And also, why can't all the stories get told?
Right. Exactly.
Why not? You know, I mean, I know we're so lucky that we get to do our show. I fully understand that. But sometimes when people are like, you know, are you shocked that, you know, you ladies who are over 50 are getting to be on the television? I mean, like, it's hard not to be offended. Like, why wouldn't we get to be on the television?
Well, why? Because it hasn't happened before. It's like,
I know, but it's messed up. It's just so messed up.
It's so wrong. I remember I actually sold a television pitch many years ago. I'd never done it before for a show that I wanted to see about women. And we got to the point of having auditions. And I don't know if you remember this company, Carsey Warner, but Marcy.
Yeah, of course.
And I put a friend of mine down on the list to come in and audition. And after she auditioned, she's a brilliant actress. And Marcy went like this to me. What is she, 30? She said it like that. And I went, no, she's not. But I said, because I played my daughter in a play. And so I know her. And I went, but I said, so is the moral of the story that when you get your period, you should just cut up your SAG card? And she said, pretty much. That's what she said.
Oh my God. I mean, it's so insane. But I do remember as a young actor being so worried that I wasn't successful. I wasn't successful until I was 30. And I was like, well, I'm only going to have 10 more years, then it's going to be over.
That's it.
Right? Because that was how we were brainwashed.
And everybody seemed to accept it as a truth.
Exactly.
Every time that truth gets disproved, like by your show or our show or whatever.
Yeah.
Like so relieved.
I know.
Not that they catch up to that truth.
No, I know. They forget immediately.
But it's like, that's what I want to see, is like, I want to see everybody. I'm with you.
Me too.
I want to see it all. I want to see young people and older people and old people and
yes,
the human experience.
Yes.
What our job is.
Yes. God, yes. All right. You are a joy. Thank you for joining us.
So great. Give my love to everybody.
Thank you. I will.
Right.
I'll talk to Michael soon. Okay. Bye, Caroline.
You. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Yo, K-pop fans, are you ready? It's your boy Bomhan, and I'm bringing you the K-Factor, the podcast that takes you straight into the heart of K-pop. We're talking music, idols, exclusive interviews, and even the real behind-the-scenes K-pop stories. Plus, you, the fans, you're part of the show. And you can get a chance to jump in, share your opinions, and be part of the conversation like never before. And trust me, you never know where we might pop up next. So listen to the K-Factor starting on April 16 on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just a podcast. It's a K-pop experience. Are you in? Let's go.
My husband has a secret son from a past partner.
Hold up, Sam. How do we know? Have we done the DNA test?
Well, John, luckily it's Mother May I Have a DNA Test Week on the OK Storytime podcast, so we'll find out soon. And this wife writes, my husband received a Facebook message from a woman saying that he is the father of a 5-year-old.
Whoa!
At first, he didn't remember her, but then he realized they had a one-night stand right before we started dating.
Wait, but do we have proof he's the dad?
To hear the explosive finale, listen to the OK Storytime podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This week on Dear Chelsea with me, Chelsea Handler, Connie Britton is here. I think you should encourage your friend to go ahead and not be holding out for any man to have her babies. She could be waiting another 10 years before she finds the right guy. Connie didn't meet her right guy until you were what, 50, Connie?
52.
52.
I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to meet the guy, I'm going to meet the guy, I'm going to meet the guy. I finally was like, what am I waiting for? And I did it. And I'm just so glad that I did.
Listen to Dear Chelsea on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I found out I was related to the guy that I was dating.
I don't feel emotions correctly. I collect my roommate's toenails and fingernails.
Those were some callers from my call-in podcast, Therapy Gecko. It's a show where I take phone calls from anonymous strangers as a fake gecko therapist and try to learn a little bit about their lives. I know that's a weird concept, but I promise it's very interesting. Check it out for yourself by searching for Therapy Gecko on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Jay Shetty, and I'm the host of the On Purpose podcast, and I'm excited for my next episode with Khloe Kardashian.
God, I've been through so many things that at this point, I would rather not feel than feel, because feeling is too much for me to handle.
I am Khloe Kardashian.
Khloe Kardashian, everybody.
Khloe Kardashian. No one understands how I'm not just a TV show.
Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to an iHeart podcast.